Hello, everybody. This is some random Neko waking up from her nap to greet the world for the day. And by greet, I mean relive the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a collegiate athlete and feeling seen by an anime portraying the best depiction of life as a collegiate athlete that I've seen so far. Though that's not a very high bar to clear considering the desert that is college sports shows. Run with the Wind begins with former ace runner of Sendai Josei High School, Kurahara Kakeru, being chased away from a convenience store for shoplifting. Shaking off his pursuer, he encounters Kiyose Haiji, a senior from his university. Haiji is greatly impressed by Kakeru's agility and persuades him to live in Chikusei-so, the run-down apartment where Haiji resides with other university students. Kakeru reluctantly accepts the offer as he had lost his entire apartment deposit at a mahjong parlor earlier, which was why he was shoplifting a sandwich, cause he broke. However, during Kakeru's welcome party, Haiji reveals that the apartment is actually the dormitory of the Kansai University track and field team. He then declares his ultimate goal of participating in the Hakone Ekiden, one of the most prominent university marathon relay races in Japan. Unfortunately, all the residents, apart from Haiji and Kakeru, are amateurs at running. Worse still, none of them, including Kakeru, are even remotely interested in being involved in Haiji's ridiculous plan, nor are they happy at having been essentially tricked into joining a sports team. With only months left before the deadline to qualify, will Haiji be able to convince everyone that running is actually fun and realize his elusive dream of running in the Hakone Ekiden? The answer is obviously yes, because this is a sports anime, so you know the main characters are somehow going to go from a mixed bag of random guys to a team full of trained athletes and qualify for the Hakone Ekiden by the skin of their teeth, because this is a sports anime. Jokes aside, Run with the Wind is actually really good, and I especially enjoy the fact that it is set in university, because we don't get enough sports anime or TV shows set in university, despite the fact that it is the perfect setting for existential crises, self-discovery, crazy shenanigans, and endless drama, since, unless you're bunking with family, no one's supervising you anymore, and that can hit someone hard and get to their head fast. Anyways, because of the university setting and the end goal being a national marathon, Run with the Wind's story feels unique in the vast ocean of sports anime, especially since it begins with one guy tricking a bunch of other guys into joining a track and field team. Then the subsequent battle to become a genuine team and reach the Hakone Ekiden is equal parts interesting and hilarious, with the university setting enhancing the story conflicts and the character developments in a way that only university can. However, the real selling point of Run at the Wind is the Kansai track and field team itself, with each member offering different perspectives on student-athlete life and embarking on journeys of growth that are unique to them. We start off with Kurahara Kakeru, the former ace who looks like Kageyama's angrier and more socially awkward older brother, whose talent and a-hole coach's A-plus coaching isolated and disillusioned him into believing he can only run alone. Then there's Kiyose Haiji, an optimistic and wise senior whose wisdom comes from being a former competitive runner who pushed himself too hard to reach the expectations that were placed on him and literally broke as a result. Sugiyama Takashi, also known as Shindo, an honor student who is earnest to a fault and does whatever he can to help the team to the point where his dedication becomes an inspiration. Kashiwazaki Akane, affectionately called Prince, who is basically my spirit animal, an avid manga reader who sucks at running due to his lacking physical stamina, but forces himself to improve so he doesn't hold his teammates back. The twins, Jo Taro and Jo Jiro, nicknamed Jota and Joji, are the comic relief and hype men who are only in it to reel in the chicks, but end up questioning why the team runs if not to win, and what is the top that Haiji wishes to show them. Iwakura Yukihiko, or Yuki, is a too cool for school sports guy who passed the bar on the first try and hoped to easily coast through the rest of his time at uni, but eventually gets drawn into running and supporting the team with all he has just like the rest of them. Musa Kamala, an international student whose Japanese brings about understandable misunderstandings, but is kind and earnest with a well-known presence in the local community. Sakaguchi Yohei, also known as King due to his love of trivia, isn't so much of a spirit animal as he is a reminder of the reality of graduating, as he's constantly occupied with job hunting that goes poorly and doesn't believe athletics will help get him a job until he comes to realize it's still a unique experience that not many college grads will have. And finally, Hirata Akihiro, called Nico-senpai because of his smoking habit, used to be a track athlete as well before being told to quit by a coach who also has A-plus coaching. He's carried that regret ever since, but is willing to do what needs to be done when he's given a second chance, including quitting smoking. Now I know what you're probably thinking. How can the 23 episode run of Run with the Wind possibly allow enough time for each member of the Kansai team to go on their own personal journey of growth without defaulting to having Kakeru and Haiji helping them along? And to that I say, it doesn't. At least, not really, because the emphasis has always been on the team being formed, and through the team, each member grows individually. Despite the odd jumping around in the first few episodes, the overall story and individual character development for each member feels pretty well paced with a good flow for the sense of time that passes as we see the guys go from dudes that just happen to live together to a well-trained and united team of athletes. In fact, every single accomplishment that each member achieves on their journey to becoming better runners feels earned and not like it was just shoehorned in for plot's sake. And I love how no one is paired to interact with only a specific teammate for the entire duration of the story, nor are they grouped together with the same people as well. Every single member interacts with each other like an actual team does, especially one that lives together in the same dorm. They all help each other grow, they all help each other stand up when they fall, and they all have each other's backs when it counts. I also like how the Hakone Ekiden is stretched out over 5 episodes, with each member of the Kansai team getting half an episode to get introspective about where they started and how far they've come. In the beginning, Haiji poses the question, what does it mean to run? Each member ends up pondering and searching for the answer to that question. What does running mean to them? Why do they run? Was it to move away from something? To move towards something? To inspire? To win? To get the girl? Or to be the best like no one ever was? And during the Hakone Ekiden, we get to see how they reach their answers and what influence that has had on their running and their growth as people. Also, a little honorable mention, I just love the quotes on Prince's shirts for their morning runs. They're all appropriate for being in sports anime, and also a mood. Moving on, in regards to the music, only the openings and endings are really worth talking about since I don't even remember the soundtrack to be honest. There are 2 of each, the openings and endings that is, not the soundtrack, and they're all nice to listen to, though the accompanying visuals are the highlight for me. In the first opening and ending, they're more focused on the individual, with the opening focus on Kakeru, who's entering this new world of running in university while trying to leave his past behind, and the ending focused on Haiji as he trains every day to get back to where he once was. Then the second opening and ending starts in episode 12 since, in the previous episode, the team finally starts to look and feel like a team, so the visuals change to match that. In the opening, it begins by focusing on them all individually before transitioning into them running as a team, even if they're all technically running by themselves. Then in the ending, it shows them struggling individually, but then coming together to reach the peak as a team, which ties back into the rallying cry they always do before each run. It's just really nice to see the visuals pairing well thematically and all that jazz. Speaking of visuals, the animation is very good quality, and considering it was done by Production IG, who has a very good track record when it comes to sports anime, you know you're going to get solid action animation, for the most part anyway. I don't know what happened, but it seemed like they couldn't pick a lane and stick to it when it came to the running animation. Whenever the Kansai team practices, whether together or individually, it's all done in 2D. But when it comes to competition, there are some scenes where it's all done in 2D, then some where it's all done with CGI, and then some where they use 2D and CGI. As much as I like to complain about the switching between 2D and CGI, I'd prefer the whiplash I get from that than the cursed imagery of having both appear so blatantly on my screen like this. And why do the CGI mob characters always look so angry? Like, look at those eyebrows. Then again, I'd be pretty angry too if I was a CGI NPC being made to run for sport. Also, sidebar, I find the character designs very interesting in regards to the way they draw the full body when mostly nude or during Kakeru's Galaxy run. There's nothing sexual or glorifying about it, and it honestly just seems to be a realistic depiction of a professional runner's body, and college dudes being college dudes. Though I am neither a professional runner nor a college dude, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Anyways, it's nice to have some kind of diversity in muscle and body tone, instead of everyone just looking like some sort of Greek god. Now, for the criticisms with Run with the Wind, there's actually not that many things I had an issue with. One issue would be the pacing in the first few episodes and how it keeps cutting back and forth between the past and the present for no discernible reason. At least, not one that I can discern, but maybe others can. And another would be the antagonistic drama from the Shinji Manto looking at Sakaki Kosuke, Kakeru's ex-teammate, who's all shades of unnecessary in my opinion. There's already enough naturally occurring conflict and drama in collegiate athletics, especially amongst your own teammates, and even more so if you're in an individual result sport and have competed against some of them before, but now you're told to make nice because you're a team, but you're not told how to do that, only that it's up to the team to figure out, and the coach is really only there to make sure no one commits murder in the gym. Anyways, Run with the Wind didn't need to bring an old angry teammate into the mix, especially since the a-hole teammate stays an a-hole. You could argue that the old teammate is a rival-like figure meant to remind Kakeru of the past at key points in the narrative, but we only need the one true rival that is Fujioka Kazuma, who wants to compete against Haiji again and see what Kakeru is made of in order to push himself to become a better athlete. I enjoy whenever Fujioka appears. I groan in annoyance when Sakaki appears. Besides, I would argue that the shady journalist could and has done a good job of bringing up Kakadu's past. It would also make more sense to have the journalist bringing it up by constantly hounding Kakadu for that precious scoop, which would still lead to Kakadu revealing everything to the others, and them in turn having his back when the past is thrown at his face. They probably just wanted a more tangible way to show Kakadu's growth and the difference between his current and past team. But again, the journalist could fill that role, and visual metaphors are a thing, so no ex-teammates are needed. But hey, that's just an opinion. An anime opinion! I'll see myself out now. Overall, Run with the Wind gets a solid A for being a solid sports anime with the best depiction of collegiate athletics that I've seen so far. Though, again, the bar is really not that high, unfortunately. It's got a good story to tell, with good pacing, even if it was a little shaky in the beginning. That doesn't make the formation of the team or the growth of the individual members feel rushed or forced. It does get a little more philosophical than I was expecting, what with every character searching for the answer as to why they run, and getting introspective about it. But then again, this is a sports anime, where the sport is used as the means to encourage the characters to grow and become better versions of themselves. And despite some hiccups, the ending is one of the most believable I've seen in any sports anime, especially within the context of this specific anime. It's a solid conclusion to everyone's journey, which makes it all the more inspiring, at least to me, because I was watching this during a time in my life where my future had never looked more uncertain and depressing. But the hard work I put into the team was paid back with the bonds of support that my teammates continued to give me even after graduation, and the valuable skills that can only be learned through that experience. So if you're a college student, or recent grad, or just anyone who's feeling stuck in a rut, watch Run with the Wind and get inspired to continue running down the path towards your own bright future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Reminder that this is just my opinion, so you can take it with as many grains of salt as you want. I don't mind either way, and would love to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment which anime you'd like me to give my 2 cents about next. This is some random Neko, going off to take a nap now. Don't forget to keep calm and just meow.